We've come a long way together over the last year. Now we need everybody, we need you to get vaccinated and help put COVID behind us once and for all. It's time for everyone to say they've rolled up their sleeves and gotten their vaccinations. COVID vaccines are safe and effective. Everyone in the Benjamin family has now been vaccinated, even our youngest. Just like we've done, and just like so many others across the Midlands, it is important to protect yourself, your loved ones, and your community. Once you've gotten fully vaccinated, you'll know you've done your part in helping everyone get safely back together again. Take a look, see how easy that was. Vaccinations are free and available from great community partners all across the Midlands. Getting our city and all of our communities back to normal is almost within reach. We're almost there. This is your shot, Columbia.
Coping with COVID and In It Together present Wellness Wednesday, brought to you by the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina and DHEC's Division of Diabetes and Heart Disease Management.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
It's Wednesday, and that means it's Wellness Wednesday. I'm Tre Tailor. Thank you so much for joining us today. Well, today we're going to talk about back health, scoliosis, and all of the problems that are associated with it. If that's you, you're going to want to listen up. Dr. Ivory Thigpen is with us. He is going to join us in just a little bit to talk a little bit about chiropractic medicine and back health. We also have joining us a yoga instructor. Josie Martin is with Palmetto Yoga and Reiki Center, and she's going to join us next. Hey, don't forget, we are streaming live on the TailorMade production page. Would you please go over there and hit like and follow and share so that not only you can watch Coping with COVID Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and first Monday with comedian George Wallace, you can also get all kind of great information. We're also streaming live on YouTube. I want to say hi to all of you YouTubers. Thank you so much for joining us. And we also have a presence on Instagram and Facebook. We're also streaming live on the In It Together page. They've got an amazing Facebook page and website, so don't forget to check it out. Not only, like I said, you can watch Coping with COVID every Wednesday at 2 p.m. to get great information. That In It Together Facebook page also has great resources for diabetes prevention programs. Also, don't forget, throughout the show, we'll be scrolling information on the screen. Not only can you check out information on COVID-19 vaccinations, testing sites, and also some great financial information, including if you need help with some of your bills, your rent, your mortgage, your electricity bill. We'll be scrolling that information at the bottom of the screen, and also information from the Affordable Care Act, FEMA, and job information. All of that and so much more coming up right now on Coping with COVID. Wellness Wednesday. In It Together SC and the Diabetes Advisory Council presents Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday right here on Coping with COVID. And as I said earlier, we are talking about back health. What is it and how can you get some help with it? Dr. Ivory Thigpen joins us. He is joining us from Restore Chiropractic Family Wellness Center. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Thigpen. We appreciate you.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you.
Absolutely. Tell us first, what types of back issues are there? Is it just basically, I mean, we talked a little bit about scoliosis. I mean, that's something is that correct? Is that from birth?
Yes, scoliosis can be something that is congenital, means that you have it from birth. But the first thing I like to begin with is just saying that everyone has a back. And everyone has
that means everybody has a back issue?
Well, that's the point I was going to get to next. 80% of the population, many statistics and studies have shown at some point in their life experience back pain.
Wow.
There are many different types of back pain, but back pain is common to us all, just as using our back is common to us all. Even those who may not have the use of their legs, they still must use their back to have mobility in the upward part of their body. So the back, not only the erector spinae muscles used to stabilize you so that you can walk, but they're also used in such simple things as pulling things from overhead, even bringing things close to your body. One of the things that we talk about in protecting your back and being proactive and preventive so that you don't injure your back, is working in your safe zones. And that talks about when you're lifting, bring things close to your body, lifting really from your navel to really just the top part of your sternum, not lifting outside of those areas because it can put extra strain on your back. Another good back preventative tip is even when you're working at your desk, if you sit down and you lean forward, that puts more pressure on your disc than any other position. And so many people who work at a computer and they lean forward ergonomically, that is detrimental to your back and can create long-lasting back issues and problems. The final thing I'll say in regards before we get into the different types of back problems is that many people don't understand that your back can degrade over time. And so even the sleeping position that you're in that position for numerous hours every night, it can create long-lasting problems, and people don't think about it just simply because they're asleep. But you're in a sustained position for several hours, multiple times a week, and over time, it does wear and tear.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, Dr. Thigpen, because I think we just think of some people may have a back issue, other people may not have a back issue, but you're saying because you have a back, you could have a back issue, whether you were born with it or it could be something you're doing or not doing correctly.
Correct. So, for instance, if you have a back, you use it. And even those who, again, may have paralysis in their legs, they still, as a matter of fact, some would argue they use their back even more because of their have to primarily use their upper body so much. But even when you talk about scoliosis, primarily there are two different types. Usually when you have thoracic, which is an area of the back, it's your mid back, a thoracic curve that goes to the left towards where the heart is, that often is a sign of neurological problems. Ones could have a syrinx, which is a fluid-filled sac within their actual spinal cord. It usually denotes other neurological and hormonal issues that may be present. But typically, if it goes to the right, it's more of a musculoskeletal issue, meaning muscles and skeletal bone issue. And usually, if it's less than 40 degrees, you're not a surgical candidate. There are therapies and treatments that you can do to help alleviate and try to retrain those areas, particularly if you catch it at a younger age. But if it is above that 40 degrees, then usually you become a surgical candidate. But they've gotten a lot better with the techniques and orthopedic instruments that they can use now to correct that. But that's where chiropractic comes in. You know, principally our responsibility is to diagnose what is the cause and the source of your back pain, and then provide you not only with treatment, but again, preventative measures to help not only alleviate, but prevent it from worsening.
Well, let's talk about exactly what chiropractic medicine is. Dr. Ivory Thigpen joins us on Wellness Wednesday. He's with Restore Chiropractic Family Wellness Center. In It Together SC and the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID. And we're talking about scoliosis and back issues. And if you just joined us, please don't forget to a couple of things. Hit post and share, because as Dr. Ivory Thigpen said, if you got a back, you could have a back issue. That was life changing to me, because I don't think we think about that. And as you said, if you're sitting, if you're lifting, you could potentially pull out your back or, potentially have a back issue. So tell us, what is the art, the medicine of chiropractic?
Sure. I'd like to supply you with an analogy that I often use in the clinic. Most people, if they do not have or own a car, they've driven one or had to maintenance one. One of the primary things we maintenance in our car is an alignment, a wheel alignment. You buy tires. Some tires are more expensive than others because they give you a warranty for more mileage. But that warranty is voided if you don't keep your tires and car properly aligned. Because if they're not properly aligned, your tires will wear down at a faster rate and an uneven rate. Such is the body. The body, if not properly aligned, it too will wear out, and it will wear down on one side faster than the other. When the body wears down from overuse and repetitive use, that is the term osteoarthritis. There's a rheumatoid arthritis that deals more with said levels and
Yeah.
autoimmune, but osteoarthritis is basically your body has worn down because you overused it, particularly in one area more than another. You see osteoarthritis often affect one side more than the other. And that's often the kind of times you've overused one side, or again, there's been a misalignment. Chiropractic works to ensure that the biomechanics and the alignment of the body are in their optimal position, so they wear down at the slowest rate and you keep the highest quality of body movement and function throughout your life. Now, there's also another side of chiropractic that often doesn't get as much publicity, and that is the neurological side of it. So your spinal column houses your nervous system, your central nervous system, which is your brain and spinal cord, which branches nerves out to every part of your body, every organ and system in your body. And when it does so, this neurological system is very sensitive. If it is impeded in any way, if it is infringed upon in any way, it can decrease the function of your organ, your body, and your systems as a whole. Many times people think that pain is the only indicator of a problem.
Right.
Really, pain is often one of the last measures to let you know that there is a problem. When we take the conductivity of a nerve and its operation, 90% of that nerve operation deals with the functioning of the body. 10% is the perception of pain. So really, you can have a problem that is building up and an organ that is beginning to fail and decay and deteriorate, but not yet have pain. So that's why it's so important, not only from a musculoskeletal standpoint, that is how you move, how well you are able to get about, but also from a neurological standpoint. And many times you find testimonials in persons who will swear by chiropractic saying, well, my blood pressure went down, or my diabetes got better, or, all types of different things, suggesting not necessarily a direct correlation, but because the body is functioning and is optimally positioned, it begins to operate and take care of itself as at a better place. That's really the whole idea of this word we call homeostasis, and that is the body's ability to create a stable environment and balance itself. Balance is so important in our life. I'm sure your next guest is going to talk a whole lot about balance.
Yeah.
But not only balance from a postural sense, but balance also from, once again, an operational and functional sense.
Yeah, Dr. Ivy Thigpen joins us from Restore Chiropractic Family Wellness Center. You're watching Wellness Wednesday. In It Together SC and the Diabetes Advisory Council present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor. What you're saying is really fascinating, and I really want to get into, in just a minute, what you said about when you get your back straight, when you are aligned, then everything else starts working. I mean, that just so follows what we continue to hear in different aspects of medicine, which says if you get one thing right, everything else kind of falls into place. If you eat right, if you sleep right, you know what I mean?
Right. One of the things is quoted on the wall in our clinic, and we invite all of you to come out to our clinic, is that it's a quote by Thomas Edison: the doctor of the future will not prescribe medicine, instead that it will care for the frame of the body and the food that the body intakes. And so really, when you take good care of the body, right, it will take care of you. It's a simple premise that makes a whole lot of sense, but oftentimes we miss it, taking nothing away from the allopathic model of medicine. The more holistic approach is not to remove things,
Right.
Not necessarily to medicate things, but it is to be proactive and preventive. You've heard it before. I'm going to say it here again. An ounce of prevention is worth a cure. So our our resources are always much better spent when we work on the proactive and the preventative side. This simple news flash I just want to give real fast. I gave the analogy of a tire, and about how if you don't keep it aligned, that you avoid the warranty and you'll have to replace it. The thing that I didn't say that probably is the most important thing to say, it's a lot easier to replace a tire than it is a joint,
Yeah.
than it
Yeah.
is a body part. It's
Yeah.
knowing that typically we only get one of these body parts, joints. Let us do all that we can on the front end to preserve them. Not only will it oftentimes create a greater quantity of life, but more importantly, a quality of life.
So, Dr. Thigpen, you mentioned a little while ago about alignment. So, is that what chiropractic medicine is? Aligning your back the way it should be because for some reason or another it's gotten out of line?
Sure, sure. So life is motion, right? Anything that has motion to it, that's what we describe and we denote. One of the major characteristics of life is motion. So the more we move, the more active we are, we believe the better quality of health and life that we have. So when we look at it from a biomechanical perspective, that means how the body articulates and moves. When it does not articulate well and it moves aberrantly or does not move properly, it does create other problems, a cascade or domino effect that can even get to the visceral or organ level. Transversely, oppositely, if we take good care of our body and do the things that provide us high quality, good motion, good intake of nutrients, it also creates a domino effect of creating a greater quality of life.
Mhm.
So there are so many different ways, just to quickly list them. You can, one of the things when somebody comes to me with the back pain, it could be referred pain. It could be something literally coming from your heart or your kidney,
Mm.
so like say somebody has a kidney infection, we would do a rebound test, and that is a test that we do to their back on the lower quadrant in the back, either side. And if they have it, then we can identify that that's something that they may not necessarily be in the scope of my practice, but we can direct them to the right person so that
Right.
they need to do. And that's one of the things that I think often gets understated about the role of a chiropractic physician is that even though some things may be outside of the scope of our practice as far as treatment is concerned, we can identify it and many times save people's lives. I have personally know that I've caught a distended aorta, thoracic aorta, which is the major blood vessel that provides body to all of the lower parts of the body. And I had a patient who had one that, literally was such a dire situation. I said, don't cough, don't move. We're going to call the ambulance. We're going to
Oh,
get you.
wow.
Because if it were to nick or to break, or to burst, he would die within seconds because it's
Oh,
just
my goodness.
major. But that came from an x-ray of his low back. I've had instances where persons have come in and they've had lower right quadrant plane in the front, which was indicative of an appendicitis. And it was an emergency situation where they may need their appendix removed. And once again, even though it's outside of the scope of my practice, it was a life-saving awareness that was brought to the patient, so
Mhm.
that in many ways we are also gatekeepers because we interact with so many people, because again 80% of the population will experience at one point back pain.
Wow, wow. Dr. Ivory Thigpen joins us. He is telling us about chiropractic medicine and how it relates not only to your back, but amazingly enough, it relates to every portion of your body. So are you actually, because I've had an alignment done long, long time ago, and it's basically you kind of feeling and pushing things back into place,
Right.
Dr.
So,
Thigpen?
so the first thing we want to do is look at your posture and make sure that, shoulders are level, hips are level, that make sure that it looks as though everything is where it needs to be. Then we actually go for joint motion. So we will, test each joint, and that is a joint in between each one of your spines from your top of your head all the way down to the bottom of your feet and your back. We'll see. So if there's fixation, then that suggests that maybe it's not articulating properly. And then there's also, we seek to put it back in that place to get that motion so that even when you walk and you absorb shock, if it's not properly dissipated throughout your body, again, it can cause deterioration and again, even potentially lead to nerve interference and functioning of other
Mhm.
areas in the body.
So how often should you get an alignment? Is that what you call it? Is it called an alignment? How often should you see your chiropractor?
Yeah. So it varies depending on, your conditioning issue. So for instance, when we talk about back pain, it could be a disc issue, which is the kind of viscous pad that sits between each of the vertebrae. That usually tends to some numbness, some tingling, some burning, some major issues into your lower body. Radicular pain is what we call it. And that's a little bit more intensive care, a little bit more frequently. It could be something like facet imbrication. That means the joints on the back side of your bone, they become enlarged and I'm gonna say entangled. That's not the proper term, but it's one I think people can relate to.
Yeah.
And because of that, you have to work to get it in a place where they don't get caught or fixed as often. They could be skeletal in the sense of you may have pulled a muscle or strained a ligament. And that means they just have partial tears in those anatomy parts. And those are less frequently and usually a shorter duration of care. Usually that tissue takes about 6 to 8 weeks to heal. And, depending on how bad you tear it, is the frequency that you should be seeing. But again, it all varies because, again, your back pain could not even be related to your back. It could, once again, be coming from something else.
Right. And that's just fascinating. Again, just, listen, it's funny because when we were kids, we said the song, your knee bone is connected to you or whatever. You hear that. But to really recognize that it all aligns to everything else, because you're sitting here talking about posture. My mother was a big posture person. You know what I mean? Back straight. And I think I have good posture, but I'll tell you and I walk, and I think I have good shoes, but lately I've been having some like lower hip pain or discomfort. I don't think it's pain, but just listening to you, I'm thinking, should I go see a chiropractor? Are my shoes not fitting well? I'm starting to think of some different things as you're talking. I'm thinking it's because I am a woman of a certain age. You know what I'm saying? But it could be many things.
Well, I would argue as a chiropractor that it would benefit all persons to see their chiropractor.
Right.
But also we do age, and part of aging is taking care of our bodies.
Yeah.
And particularly if you're active, a lot of times one of our patients is what we call a weekend warrior. She does the decathlons and
oh wow.
But she makes sure that she gets in 2 times before she goes and immediately after she gets back, because she knows that just through normal life, but especially for those who are very active, it takes a toll on your body, and giving it that prep and repair time that it needs. Think about it like this. Out of all the things that we own that are our property, we take good care of them. I mean, if it's your car, you wash it, you clean it. I mean, I know that everybody's washing and cleaning their body, but even from that's just a surface level, but things that we really want to last, we make sure that they are maintenance and taken care of. And our body is probably one of the most valuable things that we have.
Yeah. Before you leave, I want to kind of go back to something you said earlier, how your back health, how you being aligned and, seeing a chiropractor helps when you have underlying health conditions like diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Dr. Thigpen?
Well, I mean, I think any healthcare practitioner and physician would tell you that there are certain habits and disciplines that will make you better in whatever you do. As a physician, oftentimes people say we're not the best patients and the most compliant. I had some health challenges myself this year. A1C was too high, blood sugar was too high. Had bad cholesterol numbers, borderline hypertensive, and it really was just, believe it or not, Trey, I have a very stressful job, all of it, and wasn't taking the time to exercise and eat like I needed to.
Right.
But not only did I exercise, intermittent fast, change my diet, I also had my thoracic back, which is your mid back adjusted. What many don't know, and I will tell you today, is that you have what we call the autonomic nervous system, which means that is the nervous system that is responsible for releasing hormones in your body. As these hormones released in your body, they have a global effect. Many times when we are stressed, we have high levels of cortisol, right, that cause a whole bunch of other things in other parts of our body. We probably don't have the time to go into that. But along your thoracic spine is the sympathetic chain. It is the primary body parts that trigger and to release these hormones. And when you're stressed, that is an area that tends to lock up. Your muscles tighten, they guard, they spasm, because many people carry that stress in their neck and their upper back. And what I found out is not only did I, again, change my diet, change my exercise regimen, and began to, walk more and eat better. But also too, as I got adjusted in those areas and released, I do believe that it did have an impact again on my sympathetic chain and my autonomic nervous system to get me out of that fight or flight state. So have you heard of that before, fight or flight?
Fight or flight, yes. Mm-hmm.
So fight or flight means that your body globally releases hormones like epinephrine and norepinephrine, so that if you are in a fight, you can respond faster. And if you have to flee, if you choose not to fight, your body can operate at its highest. But your body was never intended to stay in that state permanently.
Right.
But when you are in that heightened sympathetic state of fight or flight, it creates tremendous problems. And you even see that cortisol cascade that then will raise your glucose absorption and intake. And so I could go on and on.
Yeah, and you know what? And you're over our heads anyway.
Okay.
You're way over our heads. So basically, if it does help, I guess you're saying.
It does. And I think the simple premise that I think all people can relate to is that if you take good care of your body will take good care of you.
Yeah. And chiropractic medicine, or making sure your back is aligned, it helps with that too.
It goes a long way. Of course, I'm a chiropractor, so I will argue it's one of the primary ways. But definitely try it. And people who I know have had chiropractic care, been to chiropractic care, they love it. They swear by it because it has made a difference in so many people's lives. A lot of patients we get are people who have tried everything else.
Yeah.
And then they come to us and they have newfound really life and vigor, particularly those who are one of the major things we deal with is sciatic issues.
Yeah.
The sciatic nerve is this large nerve that runs to the lower part of your body that innervates pretty much everything, or a large portion of things in your lower body. But it can cause like major debilitating pain and burning and numbness and unbearable symptoms in your lower body. And it can come from several things. It could come from a misalignment. It could come from, pelvis and pelvis floor issues, muscles. It could also come from a muscle that even runs on the backside of your pelvis called the piriformis. And because this muscle has gotten tight and has oftentimes inflamed and swollen, it can put pressure on that nerve. Now, many people think, well, a muscle or my misalignment would not cause this type of issues and pains and problems in my lower body, but in actuality, it truly does.
Right. Well, listen, we're going to bring Dr. Thigpen back on the show on one of the Thursday or Friday shows to talk a little bit more and kind of show us exactly what it is and what it ain't, how to really actually align, because this is really fascinating information. Dr. Ivory Thigpen with Restore Chiropractic Family Wellness Center, thank you so much for joining us today and for this fascinating information about back health. We so appreciate you joining us today on Coping with COVID. Thank you.
It's been my pleasure, as always, Trey.
All right. Thanks a lot. In It Together, SCN, the Diabetes Advisory Council, present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor. We continue our show on back health and scoliosis with a yoga instructor. She's going to actually show us some things we can do today, tomorrow, or anytime to help you get your back aligned and ultimately help you toward better health. I'm Tre Tailor. We'll be right back.
Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic, and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. It's brought to you by SCDHEC. Visit scdhec.gov for an updated list of testing and vaccination sites and info to help protect yourself, your family, and friends from the coronavirus. SCDHEC, healthy people, healthy communities. In It Together, SC and the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council, presenting Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday on Coping with COVID. The City of Columbia Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, helping to meet the needs of small, minority, and women-owned businesses in the city of Columbia. Visit columbiasc.net/OBO. Agape Counseling and Training Services. Call 803-779-2777 for licensed professionals of counselors and social workers helping families, engaged and married couples, and individuals of all ages gain an understanding of all aspects of their lives. If you're having a challenge coping with COVID, visit Agape Counseling and Training Services at agapects.com. The Comet Bus System, a fast, fun, friendly transit system that can take you anywhere you want to go in the Midlands. So don't miss your shot. Catch the Comet and get a free ride to get your COVID vaccine. Visit catchthecomet.gov. Javis Tax Services, South Carolina's premier full-service financial provider with over 20 years of experience. Palmetto Media Connections, connecting media and communities together. And Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. Call Daniel for honest, professional, reliable, and knowledgeable computer sales and service. Coping with COVID from SCDHEC. In it together, the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Agape Counseling and Training Services, the Comet Bus System, Palmetto Media Connections, Javis Financial Services, and Computers Unique.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
The Comet gives me a reliable source of transportation.
It's very convenient to me, and they have wonderful drivers.
It's clean, and it builds community. It's fun to meet people.
It makes me feel like really independent. It's just fun.
It's always going to be there, and it gets me everywhere I need to go.
We try to ride every single day. Comedy is our livelihood.
Computers, they're a part of our everyday life. But when they're not working, they're an everyday problem. So call Computers Unique, your everyday solution. 803-351-5821. Is your computer running slow? Won't turn on? Do you need a screen replaced? Or maybe you just need another computer? Well, Computers Unique is your one-stop shop for all your computer needs. They have a wide variety of new and pre-owned PCs, Macs, and tablets. So call Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. 803-351-5821. 803-351-5821.
Let Palmetto Painting Services take the worry out of your next home painting project. We can paint anything. Our business is about interior painting and exterior painting. We offer services for residential and commercial properties. Restore the life to your home with a fresh coat of paint from Palmetto Painting Services. References are available upon request. Give us a call at 803-546-4570 today.
How will you remember the year 2020?
COVID.
Losing my job.
Working 12-hour shifts in a mask.
Losing my grandma to COVID.
COVID has claimed thousands in South Carolina and strained our health system, schools, businesses, and families. If you're struggling and need to talk, call SC Hopes. That free call can help put you in touch with people who can help. This goes for healthcare workers, teachers, restaurant employees, parents, anyone and everyone. SC Hopes, mental health and addiction support for challenging times.
You can eat what's good to you and good for you, too.
Yes.
Get the Dash for Southern Soul Cookbook free. All you have to do is ask. It's packed with delicious Southern-style recipes with a healthy twist.
Yummy.
You won't be able to taste the difference, but you will be able to feel the difference.
Yeah.
Inbox your email address to the In It Together or TaylorMade Productions Facebook page, and you'll get it straight to your mailbox. The Dash for Southern Style Cookbook and a Coping with COVID face mask. From In It Together SC, the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina, and Coping with COVID.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
Again for joining us on Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. It's Wednesday. That means it's Wellness Wednesday. The Diabetes Advisory Council and In It Together SC present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID. Hey, don't forget, we are actually streaming live on the In It Together Facebook page. Go to Facebook. Don't forget to like and share so that not only you can watch Coping with COVID every Wednesday at 2 p.m., you can also get all of your diabetes prevention related updates. Additionally, don't forget that streaming on the bottom will be information about COVID-19 testing throughout the state, also where you can get a vaccine, also any financial related COVID information, which of course will include the FEMA death reimbursement. If you want to get some money to pay your rent or your mortgage or your bill, you can see it right here on Coping with COVID, and we'll be streaming that information on the screen. I want to thank you so much again for joining us. Don't forget to go over to the Tailor Made production page. That's the home of Coping with COVID. We are streaming live there. We're also streaming live on YouTube. Hello to all of you YouTubers. And we also have a presence on Instagram. Also, don't forget to post and share this information out, because as we said, we want to get this information, the message to the masses, because today we're talking about back health. Fascinating interview with Dr. Ivory Thigpen earlier. If you are just joining us, please don't forget to hit the replay button, because you will not want to miss that interview. Fascinating with the chiropractor. You're not going to want to miss this either. We're talking to Josie Madison. She is with Palmetto Yoga and Reiki Center. Josie, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So listen, tell me first how yoga can help folks with back problems.
Well, yoga can help folks with back problems if they understand why they have a back problem. And so back problems is not necessarily because the back is hurting. It could be other issues with tight hamstrings. It can be tight hips. It can be hours and hours of either driving a truck or sitting in your office desk chair that causes the muscles surrounding your back that start to seize up and tighten up. And then what happens is when you're bending, when you're lifting something, a lot of the other areas are really tight. So then the back starts to take the full weight of everything that you're doing. In these days now, especially with COVID, everybody's working from home. What do we do? We're on the typewriter, and all of a sudden, you know, oh, I just said typewriter. That totally dates me. But on the computer.
Look, there's somebody somewhere saying, what is that?
Yeah, exactly. So, and after a while, we're starting to round our back. But what happens to the back as we start to round? It starts to overstretch. And then we're like, why is this backache? And then there's another really important reason is a lot of stress in our, I'm sure you've heard, or your listeners have heard of the fight or flight nervous system, or
That's
the rest and digest.
That's the same thing that the chiropractor just said. Yeah.
Yes. So the more we're in the stage of stress, the more our body is in a stage of fight or flight, which then starts to seize the muscles and the bones and the ligaments. Well, what happens? Well, all of this is, you know, kind of just shaking and being so tight. Well, of course, we're going to have a backache or a body ache. And so the more you're stressed, the more your body's actually talking to you saying, hello, do something about it. Because if your mind is not enough to tell you to, you know, if your subconscious or conscious is trying to tell you to relax and you're not doing it, then the body's going to start saying, hey, it's time for you to do something about it. So yoga is really helpful because yoga connects us to the rest and digest parasympathetic of the nervous system. So the better you move, the slower you move, the more you stretch, the more you breathe, you connect to that system. And there, the body is able to relax and release the tension in the muscles. And all of a sudden, you're like, oh, but not only that, but with yoga, we target other muscles around the back to help loosen them up, you know?
Yogi
so that's basically
how it is. Yeah. Josie Madison joins us. She's with Palmetto Yoga and Reiki Center. We're talking about back health. And, you know, Josie, what you're saying is so fascinating and just word for word almost mimics what the chiropractor just said, which is, again, that one, it could be something other than your back that's causing your back to hurt. And that anybody, you know, he said something that was interesting. He said, everybody's got a back, so everybody could have back pain. You know, and like you said, people are working more, they're on their typewriters, on their computers, and then stress. The stress thing is interesting. Talk about a little bit more how stress can make your back hurt. Is it the muscles tightening?
Not just that, but with yoga, we work with energy. Believe it or not, our body holds energy and we hold emotion in our bodies. So in the hips and back and lower back area is where we hold resentment, being tired, stress. So it's not just physical, it's all about emotional as well.
Mm-hmm.
So all these energy lines in our whole body start to activate in a way where it just starts to seize up the muscle. So it's not just a muscle thing, it's an emotional thing. And in yoga, we work with energy as well.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what yoga is for those people who may not know, because I'm a yogi, so I get it. But and I totally believe what you say about energy. It's so important. So tell us a little bit about the practice of yoga.
So yoga is not just an exercise, and it's funny because I had a quote not too long ago, and I wrote, if yoga is more than an exercise for you, then it'll be in your life forever. Because yoga is a lifestyle. Yoga is how you think. Yoga is how you breathe. Yoga is how you eat. And yoga is how you move. And we have some series over at the studio, beginner series, 6-week series. And I always explain to my students, it's 80% on your mat, 20% on your mat, and 80% off your mat. And they're very surprised when they hear that, because they're like, well, what do you mean? I said, yoga is not just the exercise. Yoga is a lifestyle, is a choice to feel better, to want to eat better, to want to think better. So all these are intertwined. The better you move, the better you breathe, the better you eat. Well, what's going to happen? The better you think.
So tell us a little bit about what the yoga experience is. As you said, what is that 80% off the mat that combined with the 20% on the mat doing the actual exercises, so to speak, that kind of puts it all together to help folks have better back health and better overall health?
So 100% of the times that I hear after a class, the student will say, oh my gosh, I feel so good. I feel like alive. And I always tell them, they'll take that feeling and keep it. Hold on to that. Go out the door, get in your car, take another deep breath and say, wow, I feel great. What am I going to do for me today that makes me keep staying in that state of mind?
Right.
So instead of going to get a pizza, I feel so good. You know what? I think I'm going to get a nice smoothie, or even just a light lunch and go for a walk with a friend.
Yeah.
So the more you do yoga physically, it'll start to develop mentally in your body. I mean, everybody knows if we diet and we lose 5 pounds, how good do we feel?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so it's the same thing with yoga. It's the emotion, it's the state of mind that yoga helps with someone, is to keep that. So yes, you're doing your yoga 20%, you're on the mat, but after that, it's your choice. What do you choose to do? Because a lot of I was talking to a student of mine not too long ago, and she's like, I tend to go to the gym, get memberships, and then like 2 months later, I give up. And I said, well, tell me what exercise means to you. She says, well, I just want to lose weight. I just want to, fit in my jeans. I said, well, how does it make you feel?
Yeah.
Do you even like exercise? Well, not really. It's and then I heard something very interesting. She says it's like a punishment, because if I ate too much the night before, I got to punish myself and do exercise. And I'm like, so let's try and see if we can change your state of mind with doing yoga for self-care and self-love, and maybe learn how to de-stress. Well, she's been a member for, regular now. She's like, oh my God, you completely changed my way of thinking of what I was thinking of exercise or what yoga is.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so interesting that you say she thought it was punishment. And it is definitely a mindset. I know for me, I have, which is crazy to me, I have a history of high blood pressure in my family. African-American female, but I don't drink. I don't smoke. I may drink a little wine, but I don't smoke. I'm a pretty clean eater. I mean, I love a chocolate chip cookie, but I'm a vegetarian. You know, I eat my fruits and veggies. But I was still having some sugar issues and some high blood pressure issues. And Josie, I did not want to take medicine, so I knew. And I'm pretty active. I mean, like I'll do the stairs instead of the elevator. I'll park farther away. But I knew I needed to ramp it up. You know, so I looked at it as I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it so I can have a good, long, healthy life. So you're right. It is so much more of your mindset. What do you want to do this for? Do you love you? Do you want to spend time with your kids, your grandkids? Do you want a better quality of life? And so it is mind over matter.
Absolutely. You know, I had a tailbone issue and they couldn't figure out what was going on. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, because I fractured my tailbone in my 20s over exercising. I fell on a curb of sidewalk while rollerblading. And in my 50s, I'm 54 now, 2 years ago, it came back. And I was like, oh my goodness, you know, I'm like, I am not going to remove my tailbone.
Right.
But I started meditating and realizing what is going on with my mind. And I was afraid of moving forward in my life. So I was kind of standing still, sitting still. And I'm like, okay, I got to move. I got to do something. I'm afraid. What am I afraid of? To fail? Maybe, maybe not. It's a yes, it's a no. And I started really moving and shifting my life forward towards better thinking, towards understanding. And I've had no pain since. And no pain whatsoever. But it is a state of mind.
It is a state of mind. And you know what you're saying is so important, because if we would just recognize the power of our minds, you know, it's almost like, I don't know if your mother ever told you this, but, you know, every 28 days when I would have cramps, my mother would say to me, yeah, you feel bad, but at least if you put a little lipstick on, if you look good, you won't feel as bad. It's almost like that. Did your mom tell you that? It's almost like that too. If you look better, you feel better. So you kind of have to kind of motivate yourself. Yeah. Josie Madison joins us.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Josie. She's with Palmetto Yoga and Reiki Center, and you're watching Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. I'm Tre Tailor. It's Wellness Wednesday, every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID. It's from In It Together, SC, and the Diabetes Advisory Council. We're talking about back health. Don't forget to post and share so we can get this information to the masses. And don't forget to hit the replay button. We're talking to Josie now, and she's getting ready to show us some moves, some exercises we can do. But before this, we were talking to Dr. Ivory Thigpen. He is a chiropractor in Columbia, South Carolina. He had some great information too. So Josie, can you show us some things that folks can do to kind of alleviate back pain and pressure, regardless of where it's coming from? And I guess here's the other thing before we get to that. Do we need to figure out first where it's coming from in order to get some relief? Or can we just do these poses and then and get some relief that way?
So let me stand here. So I'm going to show you what happens is a lot of times when we have lower back pain issues.
I'm going to stand too.
The hamstrings are tight. So all of a sudden the pelvis starts to pull. It starts to pull down. So you're going to start feeling this pressure. And a lot of the people that have back pain will bring their hands and they'll be like, oh my God, because they're overstretched, because they're like this all the time. So a good exercise to stretch your hamstring is to take a chair, make sure there's no wheels on it so that your leg doesn't go flying off, but just bring one heel. Well, George, just hold on to your chair. So you can do that either laying down with a strap, where you can take a strap and then extend the strap all the way down, and then your leg's going to go up towards the ceiling. And so you have your heel onto even the couch or the TV table or whatever you call that, the living room table. But all you need to do is to flex the foot. Heel is on a hard surface, okay? And then from here, draw the belly towards the spine. So bring the belly towards, so tucking the belly, hands to the hips. And gently hinging from the hips, lower your chest towards your thigh. You're going to start feeling a nice stretch to the back of your leg.
Yeah.
You feel that?
Yeah.
So that is the hamstring. So the more you can lengthen your hamstring, the more you can help with supporting the lower back.
Okay.
So a lot of the times is because we have tight back and legs because we're sitting too much. So by stretching the leg, one, then the other, maybe counting to about 10, and then coming back and do those stretches every morning. Well, as a yogi, I practice yoga every morning, but these are really good exercises to do. So I will show you maybe on the floor.
And Josie, this is stuff people can do throughout the day too, right?
Extending your leg up towards the sky like this.
Okay, let me see. I don't know if I can get
Absolutely. And then let's sit on your chair. Come back to sit on your chair.
Okay.
Okay, but come to sit on your chair. We'll do some hip, also with tight hips. So crossing your right leg over your left knee. So you want the right leg, the ankle is going to go, and like how guys usually sit when they cross their leg, they put their ankle on their knee, right?
Right.
So bring your hands, let me step back a little bit here.
I'll stand back.
Okay, so like this.
I see.
Bring your hands on your leg. Sit on the edge of your seat and flex the foot. And then lean forward.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Can you feel that?
I do. Feel it in my back.
So, yes. So basically, yeah, you're going to feel it in the hips. You're going to feel it in the back. So this is also a very good exercise you can do if you're working from home.
Right.
So you go one leg, then you do the other. Cross
the
it.
other leg.
Ankle rests on the knee. And then, yeah. And this is a really good hip release, lower back release that basically takes 3 to 4 minutes.
Yeah. You know what, Josie, I'll tell you, in the morning.
And another good exercise.
No, I was going to tell you, I do stretches like I'll stretch up, I'll stretch out, I'll stretch my neck. But these are stretching. It feels different than what I'm stretching. So I'm stretching some different muscles that I need to stretch.
Yeah, because it's working with your back.
Yeah.
If we're talking about the back, these are some of the muscles that are very important to work with in order to release the lower back. Also, even just breathing. So if you're inhaling to a count of 3, for example, try to exhale to a count of 4 or 5. So as soon as you exhale, the exhale is one of the most important breath in yoga because it connects to the parasympathetic system, which is the rest and digest. So what do we do when we're stressed out and when we're surprised? We inhale. But when we come home or when we're with family and enjoying ourselves, we go, we exhale. We connect to our parasympathetic naturally.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so by inhaling for a count of 3 and exhaling for a count of 4 or 5 will help connect you to your more restful nervous system. So we do have at the studio, we have a special class on Monday nights at 7 p.m., Yoga for a Healthy Spine.
Oh,
and it's all about working with the core and the surrounding areas. Yeah. So our studio is geared to more towards aging anatomy. So we have
I was going to say, what time is that class on Monday?
Say again?
What time is the class on Monday?
It's at 7 p.m.
Okay, 7 p.m. Monday, a yogi for your spine. That's good. Good to know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And then we have our studio is geared towards aging anatomy. I like to use that term because I don't know about you, but getting older is stressful. I'm finding things on my body that I'm like, okay, where's this coming from? Even though I'm a very healthy person, you know?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like I'm, pretty healthy. like I said, I love my chocolate chip cookies, but I don't eat them every day. You know what I mean? And I don't eat 10 at a time. And I exercise and I live a good, healthy life. I mean, I'm eliminating stress. But like you said, look, I'm going to tell you. Funny story. I usually wear my head wrapped. And this week, we've been at the beach. And so I let my hair out and I saw some gray hairs and it low key stressed me. I was like, where did those come from? So, and I don't think I was stressed, but it certainly made me, as you say, okay. So sometimes, like you said, the aging process can bring us some pause, even if we're relatively healthy. So I love that your studio is focused on the aging process, because if you live, you're gonna age.
Yeah.
And you need some help.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So we do have, yoga for the 50 plus, and a lot of the students that come to the studio tell us, oh my God, I feel like I'm at home, because a lot of the studios or a lot of yoga is misconstrued and not explained properly. If you go on Instagram, you see all these people that are weighing 50 pounds and having, these pretzel poses. That's not yoga. That's art. And so for us, we have this that we help you find your yoga. We fit the body to the pose and not the pose to the body. Or actually,
we're talking to Josie Madison. She is with Palmetto Yoga and Reiki Center. And you are watching Coping with COVID. It's Wellness Wednesday, and Together SC and the Diabetes Advisory Council present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday. And Josie has given us some great information on back and spine health. Don't forget to hit the replay button, and you'll actually see some exercises that she used to help specifically your back and spine. And I'm going to tell you, and I mentioned this in the interview, I stretch every morning, but even the poses that Josie shared stretched some different things. Because Josie, I'll tell you, I was telling Dr. Thigpen in the last session that I'm starting to feel some discomfort in my hip. And I was wondering, am I wearing the wrong sneakers when I walk? Am I, am I just aging, which I am? I mean, I'm just wondering. And again, it could just be, like he said, I need an adjustment, or like you said, I need to do stretches specifically for the back.
Yeah. Working with the hips, stretching the hips a little bit more, working with the hamstrings, the back of the legs, stretching those more. I'm pretty confident you'll feel a big difference. You'll feel a big difference. And with our spine class, we work on the core as well to strengthen the core to support the back. A lot of people think, oh, it's my back, it's my back. No, look around. What is supporting your back? And there's so many exercises that we can do. So I hope that, maybe you'll come by the studio to attend a class and you'll be like, oh my God, I know what you mean.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's interesting because during COVID, I have I have a 5 and 2-year-old, almost 3-year-old, and yes, and I'm not 30 or 40, but I digress. And during COVID, when the kids were out of school, because I wanted to do some yoga for children, and I found some things online, and it was a little challenging for the 2-year-old. The 5-year-old did a little bit better. But I'm familiar with yoga, and I've done it before, and I got into it with the kids. So I am going to come by because I am 50 plus, and I think I really love that your studio is specifically for people, men and women of a certain age, and really caters to that. So Palmetto Yoga and Reiki Center, check the screen for more information. And don't forget about the spine class. It's Monday at 7, you say, Josie? Yes. Monday at 7. If you're having some problems with your back, your spine, your hips, this would be a great class for you. Monday at 7 at Palmetto Yoga and Reiki Center. Anything else you can share with us, Josie, before you leave? I was going to say, I do want you to mention how this could help people that may have diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, how this correlates to helping those folks with underlying health conditions.
Again, it's all about choices. And so the better you feel about yourself, the better choices you're going to want to make. But I just wanted to kind of slip in real quick. Yoga is not just for women. We started a group, a 6-week group for men only. And we have men in a class taught by a guy. And there's this one 70-year-old guy. He says, I'm a grandpa and I want to be able to go down on the floor and play with my grandkids when the time comes. And they're a great group of guys. And so, we're offering that for them so that they don't feel as intimidated, and basically, being able to support them in their health as well, because it's as important for men to be feeling better. And they probably have more backaches than anything else. So check our website. We do have a newcomer special. So if you're new to the studio, you can get a pass. The special for July is for $37. Get 30 days unlimited yoga. It gives you a chance to try all the classes. And then after that, it's still the ongoing 30 days for $47, but it gives you a chance to try different classes. I'm proud of our teachers because we work hard in helping you find your yoga.
Oh, that's good. That's Josie Madison, Palmetto Yoga and Reiki Center. Josie, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being not only physically flexible, but time flexible to schedule this interview so that both of us can do this together. I appreciate you. And you are going to see me soon. Don't forget about the Monday spine class and the specials at Palmetto Yoga and Reiki Center with Josie Madison. Thank you, Josie. We appreciate you, beautiful.
Thank you so much. Namaste.
Listen, this has been such a great show. Such great information from Josie Madison with Palmetto Yoga and Reiki Center, and also Dr. Ivory Thigpen. I'm Tre Tailor. Listen, if you have a story or initiative that could help someone cope with COVID, please email copingwithtreTailor@gmail.com. We would love to get you on the show. We would love to feature you. Listen, if you have a product or service that could help someone cope with COVID, you can do the same thing. Email copingwithtreTailor@gmail.com, or you can head over to Facebook and inbox me, and we would love to feature you, your initiative, your product or service on Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor. You can see the information scrolling at the bottom of the screen. As always, I leave you with a reading from Jesus Calling. It's July 14th. And today Jesus says, and I have this written in this highlighted, it says, keep walking with me along the path I have chosen for you. I could instantly grant you the spiritual riches you desire, but that's not my way for you. Together, we would forge a pathway up the high mountain. The journey is hard sometimes, and you are weak, but someday you will dance light-footed on the high peaks. But for now, your walk is often heavy. All I require, Jesus says, of you is to take the next step, climbing and clinging to my hand for strength and direction. Though the path is difficult and the scenery dull at the moment, there are sparkling surprises just around the corner. Stay on the path that I have selected for you, Jesus says. It is truly the path of life. I'm Tre Tailor. Hey, thank you so much for joining us once again on Coping with COVID. Don't forget, In It Together SC and the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID. This Friday on Faith Friday, we're going to talk to a guy from the Midlands Fatherhood Coalition about an innovative plan they're working with the City of Columbia to help single dads get more income. Plus, a local teacher had a terrible accident and how he has bounced back from that and is doing well physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, and helping his students too. That's coming up this Friday, Faith Friday, on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor. Until the next time, I wish you peace, abundant blessings. Take care, stay well, be blessed. You still need to wear your mask, I think, over your nose and under your face. And go ahead and get your vaccine. I'll talk to you soon.
Coping with COVID and In It Together present Wellness Wednesday, brought to you by the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina and DHEC's Division of Diabetes and Heart Disease Management.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.